If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. This is what we're fighting. Right, we've got a fairly packed show. We have an even more packed show as I've been in writing mode this week to overcome other issues, which has now morphed into a second show, which will follow shortly, and look forward to that. So, off we go. The Secret Cabal has taken over the world. They kidnap children, slaughter and eat them to gain their power from their blood. They control high positions in government, banks, international finance, the news media and the church. They want to disarm the police, they promote homosexuality and pedophilia, and they plan to mongrelize the white race so it will lose its essential power. All written in a piece this week. And it said, does this conspiracy theory sound familiar? It is, the article said. The same narrative has been repackaged by QAnon. The plot described above was the conspiracy revealed in the most influential anti-Jewish pamphlet of all time. It was called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and it was written by a Russian anti-Jewish propagandist around 1902. And it collected myths about a Jewish plot to take over the world that had existed for hundreds of years. Now, central to its mythology was the blood libel, which claimed that Jews kidnapped and slaughtered Christian children and drained their blood to mix in the dough for matzos consumed on Jewish holidays. Except that story was written over several epochs of time for the past 1900 years, long before the protocols. Written by differing scholars, churches, governments, and even popes, as we covered all the quotes written about it in an earlier show. So the article goes on. QAnon's conspiracy theory is a rebranded version of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Reverse psychology again. QAnon purveys the fantasy that a secret Satan-worshipping cabal has taken over the world. Its members kidnap white children, keep them in secret prisons run by pedophiles, slaughter and eat them to gain power from the essence in their blood. The world has seen QAnon before. It's called Nazism. In QAnon, Nazism wants a comeback. Oh dear. Desperation springs to mind with that article. But to me, this is about the funniest article I've read in a long time. Written in a desperate reverse psychology method that is showing their hand and admitting they are desperate to stem the tide of them losing the narrative. Jewish victim card, check. Blame whites, check. Agency meme conspiracy theories, check. Ridicule the truth, check. Denying the protocols exist and declare it fake, check. Blame the Russians, check. Reverse psychology, check. All in just 17 lines of diatribe. And this is an MK Ultra tactic on the people again. The guilt, shame and bullying tactics of lies they have used and spread globally to fulfill their agendas. But it must be remembered, this is also a victory for us. They are now forced to work hard to keep their lies, agendas and programs in place on a public in 2020 now seeing more than ever. I'm still to be convinced about Q not being a faction-based agency operation. Its reluctance to avoid the Jewish questions is telling, and resembles a sit-back-and-wait club mired in a saviour programme to me. I welcome in the future to be proven wrong. But until we the people have representatives within the White House, the factions will always have free rein to push their ways and agendas. And to date, there is no full proof of anyone in power operating for and by the people. And the exposures are, by and large, faction-based only, not for the people per se. As for QAnon, they should not be bracketed in with Q and would be better served expanding beyond the field of Q and listening to our extensive Must Listen To series of shows, which is around 28 now, I believe, because that way they will get a better understanding than a few cryptic lines that are open to persuasion and also confusion. Weekend at Bernie's Ruth Bader Ginsburg died again this week and marks the passing of a liberal icon on the US Supreme Court, it says, and the loss of a jurist heralded by the left in the US for their passionate advocacy of women's rights, civil liberties and the rule of law. Memorials and tributes to her, however, threaten to be overshadowed by the political firestorm that her death and the resulting vacancy on the highest court in the US will set off just 46 days before the presidential election. So here's what you need to know about what might happen next and why the stakes are so high. Donald Trump could now have the opportunity to make a third lifetime appointment to the 9-Justice Supreme Court, which is a remarkable opportunity to leave a lasting imprint on American law and politics in only his first term in office. Now, it appears certain that the president will try either before November's elections or just after. And if the Republicans lose, a confirmation could take place during a Senate lame duck session later in the year before a new Congress and president take office in January. Now, any attempt to fill the seat this year will prompt cries of hypocrisy from Democrats. They remember Republicans, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, blocking Democrat President Barack Obama from filing a 2016 Supreme Court vacancy for nearly a year, until Trump could name a replacement in 2017. And what this is going to bring is a cue for the next round of media tittle-tattle of he said and she said drama in the puppet theatre of media and politics. And quite frankly, it is tedious and tiresome watching, hearing or reading grown people act like petty and petulant children. And the bots lap it up like it's an entertainment. All whilst everyone's lives is going to shit. But the very fact that this is being fought over tells you all this is a position that is not fit for purpose. Justice is supposed to be impartial, not run along party lines. And what both parties are admitting is the Supreme Court are basing decisions within the court not on justice, but party tribal rivalry. Is that the way our justice system should be run? The outcome yesterday of the Breonna Taylor hearing was about as predictable as night and day. You knew it, I knew it, and the acting protesters knew it. Cops are ran by a Freemasonic order whose theme is to protect the brotherhood at all costs. It's in their manual. A failure to do so leads to death for that individual, depending on the scale of not protecting a brother. And that, like the Supreme Court, is cheating the system and the people. and it's the tribal aspect of the Freemasons that appears to supersede all laws and fairness. There has been many miscarriages of justice within the courts of all levels that have ruined many people's lives based on targets set and targeting. And that should not be how justice works. And the Freemasons' role in it is far more pervasive in it than the public or the alt media realise. Essentially, it's one giant lie, the pyramidal control system of the Freemasons, where those at the top enact policies and retribution, and it filters down the chain to the lower level Freemasons. And they carry the can and the karma, because they are the foundation for it. Now, the behaviour of cops has gotten worse since many were sent to Israel for training that resembles special op training. And I also suspect mind control elements as well. The frequencies operating the police radios is also conducive to added layers of mind control. Many cops are told to lie on statements, told to lie in court to protect the brothers. Again, this is fact. I have spoken to cops in the UK and America who confirm this. With targeting on the public, it's not always possible to avoid engaging with cops. But running an illegal drug operation is one way to engage cops on a frequent basis. Even if some of the cops are involved in running the drug operation. Another fact that cannot be denied. Mr. Walker, who was Breonna's boyfriend in this matter, not only invited the police in by being involved in drug running, but when the cops came in, he fired the first shot and hit one of the cops. That has all been lost in this Black Lives Matter program being ran on the people, including the black people themselves, to generate race wars on behalf of the Jewish-based string pullers. Read the Israel Cohen 1912 speech again if you don't believe me. It's all there. It's playing out now. What did he expect to happen next? With one of their officers down and the other two wondering if they are going to be shot next, they returned fire. And all who listen to this show, when put in the same position, would have done the same thing. And when you're judging these things, you have to put yourself in the scene. And I suspect all of you would have done exactly the same thing. Now, to me, the inquiry should have focused on ballistics as how the officers shot their weapons, from which position to ascertain whether they shot Breonna in error in the crossfire or shot them both deliberately to end the situation. Hindsight is a wonderful tool, but it's not realistic in a day-to-day heightened tension situations. But ultimately, when you break it all down, Mr. Walker put his girlfriend at greater risk for being involved in an illegal drug trading operation. And if Breonna, who he was involved with, and she was involved in that also put herself at greater risk of engaging police someday as well. It's the percentage game and Russian roulette. being involved in those activities that puts you in a direct line to engaging with the police, who, whilst their jobs are difficult, they do have a tendency for violence, both within their job role and their home life, as statistics show. This type of assessment I've just put out should be relayed by prominent black people within their communities who should become role models, and not some of the ridiculous behaviour certain ones have exhibited. And as for Trump's response of the court decision of, quote, thought it was really brilliant, quite frankly, Mr. Trump, your response was obtuse, pathetic, and inconsiderate.